The sun burned hot over the desert sands as Moses stood on the edge of deliverance. Behind him lay Egypt, the land of bondage and pain. Before him stretched the endless wilderness, a path to freedom that only faith could forge. The Israelites murmured among themselves, their hearts heavy with both hope and fear. They had witnessed plagues, miracles, and the might of God. Yet still, uncertainty shadowed their faith. Moses, once a prince of Egypt, now stood as God's chosen leader. His staff, simple wood yet charged with divine power, had become a symbol of God's authority. Pharaoh's heart, though broken by loss, hardened again. Rage consumed him as he realized the Israelites had truly gone free. He ordered his chariots prepared, his soldiers armed, his horses harnessed. "They shall not escape," Pharaoh roared, his voice echoing through the halls of his palace. "We will bring them back, or we will destroy them." The sound of thousands of hooves thundered across the desert plains as Egypt's finest warriors pursued the fleeing Israelites. Dust rose like a storm cloud behind them. The Israelites saw the glimmer of metal in the distance, the Egyptian army closing in. Panic rippled through the camp. Mothers clutched their children. Men shouted in confusion, and fear began to drown their hope. "Moses," they cried, "why did you bring us here to die in the wilderness?" Were there no graves in Egypt? Moses turned to them, his eyes steady though his heart trembled. "Do not be afraid," he said, his voice calm as the desert wind. "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." Yet even Moses, in that moment, felt the weight of impossibility. Before them stretched the Red Sea, deep, vast, and merciless. Behind them, the chariots of Pharaoh thundered closer. The people wept and prayed, trapped between two deaths, the sea and the sword. Moses lifted his face toward heaven. "Lord," he whispered, "what shall I do?" The voice of God answered, deep and certain, "Why do you cry to me, Moses? Tell the children of Israel to move forward, into the sea." The command struck Moses with awe. Yet he knew God's ways were higher than man's understanding. The Lord continued, "Lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. The children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea." Behind them, the pillar of cloud that had guided them by day moved. It shifted between Israel and Egypt, becoming a wall of darkness to one side and light to the other. The Egyptians slowed, confused by the sudden darkness, while Israel stood bathed in a holy glow that seemed to come from the heavens themselves. Moses stepped forward, raising his staff over the sea. The wind began to blow, a mighty east wind that howled across the waters. All through the night, the wind grew stronger. The sea churned and roared, and the waves began to rise, not to crash, but to stand. The people gasped as the impossible happened before their eyes. The sea split down the middle, and walls of water towered on both sides, glistening like sapphire under the moonlight. Between those walls lay a path, dry, firm ground stretching across the seabed. The Lord had made a way where none existed. Moses turned to the people, his face radiant with divine faith. "Go forward," he commanded. "The Lord fights for you." One by one, the Israelites stepped into the path. Their feet, once trembling with fear, now carried them with courage. Children looked up at the towering walls of water, eyes wide with wonder as fish glimmered beside them, trapped in shimmering waves of glass. Mothers whispered prayers of gratitude, while elders lifted their hands in worship as they walked between miracles. All through the night, they crossed the entire nation of Israel, hundreds of thousands moving through the heart of the sea. When the last of them had nearly reached the other side, Pharaoh's pride burned hotter than his fear. "Drive forward," he shouted to his soldiers. The chariots raced into the path. Horses screamed, wheels clattered, and the army of Egypt charged into the very heart of God's miracle. But then confusion struck. The Lord caused the wheels of the chariots to jam. Horses stumbled, Soldiers cried out as chaos overtook them. "The Lord fights for them," one soldier screamed. "Let us flee from Israel." But it was too late. Moses, standing on the far shore, lifted his staff once more at God's command. The winds ceased, the walls of water trembled, and then collapsed with a roar like thunder. The sea closed over Pharaoh's army, swallowing chariots, horses, and men alike. When dawn broke, the waters lay still once more. Not one of the pursuing Egyptians remained alive. The Israelites stood in silence, watching the waves wash away the last traces of their captors. Freedom had come not by sword, but by faith. Moses bowed low, his heart overflowing with awe. "The Lord is my strength and my song," he declared, "and he has become my salvation." And so, the parting of the Red Sea became more than a miracle. It became a testimony that God's power knows no barrier, that faith can turn fear into victory, and that when God commands his people to move forward, even the sea itself must obey.